ZZ reports are reports that we used to run on associates, people that were part of the team and that had low performance, people that weren't hitting 100% because that's what the company was asking for. I was there running a group of around 35 people at the time, and I remember just one day getting called over to the office, and one of the assistant general managers was just like, anybody who's not over 100%, we're just going to start seeing what they're doing. Basically, seeing the problem, We were out there traveling, and we were pretty much supposed to be premium. We were supposed to be the best of the best. And I did the best of my abilities to make that happen, for the company that I'm working for at the time. And I believe I did that up to my best standard. And, I feel like I did myself and that whole team, we operated very well. That's kind of where I learned the whole gist of everything that, or niche, I guess you could say, of everything that ZZ Reports is going to be. This is going to be going into my mind and talking about these 6 main topics or 6 main subjects, however you want to call it, that basically just go, I don't want to say run my life. I want to say more like it's what I want to put my mind and my focus on while I have the opportunity to be out here working on the road. And I want to do somewhat of a ZZ report on all these things, because the ZZ report basically was letting us know what time the associate was logging into the system, what time they would go ahead and ask for their first order, what time they would go ahead and say ready, what time they would go ahead and get to the aisle and pick their first box, and little things like that. It was everything into detail. It would show what time they picked their first box, what time they picked their next box, what time they picked the next box, and so on and so on. Once they completed the order, how long it took them to stage it to the dock. When they picked up their next order, continued picking. You can see all the timing of everything. And that's what I want to do with these 6 subjects. I just want to have and put as much detail into them, as much attention to detail. The first subject is going to be warehousing and logistics. I've been doing this for around 11 years now. 5 years I was working for a warehouse in Los Angeles. This warehouse, I started off in their first warehouse and then transitioned over to their second warehouse, and then at the end transitioned over to their third warehouse. The first warehouse that I was working at was a seasonal warehouse, and basically it sounds like what it is, or it is what it sounds like, a seasonal warehouse. Basically, it really thrived on all the seasonal, like decorations, stuff that you can decorate the house with, anything from Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween, New Year's, graduations, St. Patrick's Day, Valentine's, 4th of July, just so many things, Easter, anything that had to do with seasons, or seasonal merchandising, it ran through right there. It had its own warehouse, and it had a lot of more bulk items and a lot more bulk locations rather than rack locations, which is something to point out. And this is what I want this to be about. Basically, putting in as much attention to detail, because I mean, it's just sitting down and talking about it. That's it. I know in the first post that I had for everything, I said I was gonna be writing a lot, but I feel like maybe I could be talking a lot better, move this a lot faster. Since it is gonna be 6 different subjects, and just writing is just, I feel like I can get more out of talking for an hour and putting more detail, and you can actually hear my voice and hear what it's coming out of my mouth and whatnot. You know, um, just know that this is gonna be a lot more out of the top of my head. I really don't have anything written down, and I really don't know the way I'm gonna be going upon this. But I just needed to get up and start doing this. That's why I basically want to do it and just start getting my ideas out. So then I moved on to their second warehouse, and you're gonna notice that a lot, that I just ramble on and then move to something else, come back to the main topic. Just you'll get to know that. Moved on to their second warehouse, which was their main warehouse, which this had 3 different zones. And this was more of a first zone that had sodas, chips, candies, and items like that. More liquid items and candy items, chips, paper towels, like, I guess just like bigger boxes. I know I had like cat litter and stuff like that, but this was basically the way they had their first zone set up. Their second zone, it was a lot of bleach. Oh no, I'm sorry, that was zone 3. Zone 2 was like motor oil, car oil. Then it would move on to like bleach, or like like liquid soap, and stuff like that. I know I had like shampoo, just a lot of other random stuff. And then zone 3 would have a lot of candy items, bleach. It started off in the bleach, went into the canned foods. Then it went on to some more chips, just different stuff like that. And then it would end like with candy. It had its own banana aisle, its own bread aisle, just a lot of random stuff like that. And this was their main warehouse that a lot of their main merchandise was getting distributed from. And that basically had the most volume. I would say easily over at 100,000 cases from what I remember from some of the meetings in the morning. It was a lot of people working. It was dope. Then what happened, they also had some other warehouses around the area. I never got a chance to go to work at those. But then what happened, they opened up another warehouse, and they transitioned all of the seasonal warehouse into this new warehouse, closed down the old warehouse, the one that I started off at. And then since they knew that we had experience working seasonal, they sent us over to help, and we ended up staying there for a while. And I ended up staying there permanently, well, basically. And what I mean by we was a collective of us, it was a group of us, and they were just like, hey, do you guys mind going to help out? And we were just like, no. And it was dope. With time, there was a third-party logistics company that came in to work there. And I do have to give gotta give a lot of praise to one of my supervisors that was working there at the time. He basically knew that this 3PL was gonna come in the future. I had just gotten moved up to a receiver from picking, and I was also gigging at the time, and I'll say right now I was also working alongside with my brother. Because that's the thing. I don't know if I want to bring in my family too much into this, but you know what? Like, it's cool. My brothers are cool. Um, I was working alongside with my brother, and we were gigging at the time. That's also going to be one of the topics. But we were gigging at the time, and when the supervisor saw us picking, he basically came up to me and was just like, "Hey, what's up? Like, you're picking pretty good. You seem like a pretty hard worker." And just let him know that I was trying my best. Just wanted to come and do a good job. You know, when me and my brother had gone to offer for our transfer from moving to the seasonal warehouse over to the main warehouse, they never told us no, and they accommodated us pretty well, respected our decision that we wanted to go make more money, and so we wanted to return the favor, and it wasn't far, so it was cool. And he went and told us, like, like, you guys are doing a pretty hell of a job. At the time, he still didn't know it was my brother, so he thought it was just me, and he didn't know I had a brother. And I was basically, the talk led up to that we were gigging on Saturdays and sometimes on Sundays, sometimes on Fridays. So, for the most part, like, I was looking to have the weekend off, or at least have Sunday off, or at least have Saturday off. That way we can focus at least somewhat on the music, because up to that point we had been working Sundays through Saturdays. Sunday through Fridays, Saturday off, Sunday back to work. So, we were working 7 days a week. Saturdays gigging, Sunday through Friday at the warehouse. And it was cool. It was a lot of work. And, I'm not complaining about it, but, I'm actually happy that I got that experience. Kind of goes to show, that we were able to do something like that. Because, I'm not going to lie, when you finish gigging at 2 or 3 in the morning and then you have to go in at 5 or 4 or 5 in the morning, I forgot what time we were going in, but it was tough. You would be falling asleep on the pallet jack, roaming around the warehouse, picking boxes, and over here half asleep. Or, I'm not going to lie, sometimes you go and have drunk and stuff. And, it was just such a good night from the night before. Try to sober down and relax, but I don't condone doing that, but it's just what it is in the warehouse. Like I said, it's not something to do. I was doing it in the past, but that was just me, and thankfully never got involved into an accident. Always made sure to keep my eye around and make sure I wasn't, in dangers of hurting anybody. But that's just how it was working like that. And so then he was pretty much like, would you be interested into a receiver's position? And I was just basically like, yeah, but what's the day off? What are the days off? And he's like, Saturday and Sunday. And then I just remembered about my brother, and I just told the supervisor, I was just basically like, look, like, honestly, like, I appreciate it, but I'm not gonna lie, like, it's kind of a two-person thing. Like, I work here with my brother. We've been working at these warehouses for a cool minute now, and we basically come together, and it's kind of a two-person deal. And he was just basically like, who's your brother? And I was like, light-skinned dude, long hair, brown shorts, always wears a white shirt, sleeves cut off. He's like, that's your brother? I was like, yeah. He's like, there's 2 positions open. And I was like, perfect. And, he came through, straight up. We ended up getting the positions. And he let us know once we got hired. He was like, look, I'm going to let you fools know right now. In a couple of years, there's going to be a company that's going to come in here, and they're going to be getting paid by the case. They're going to be getting paid on pretty good money. I know you guys are pickers, order selectors, and that's where the money's going to be at. So I'm just letting you fools know right now. And we just kind of looked at each other, and we just stayed with him, and I think we were focused more on the music at that time and just being able to see if we can make this work in the music and, being able to work in the warehouse and just making it easier for us for the lifestyle that we were living as far as, we were getting a good amount of gigs, busy all the time, so, can't complain about that side. And just trying to make it easier for us. And eventually he ended up giving us Sunday and Monday off, which was a lot better. And it was a lot doper because he would put us in Saturdays with him, and it was just us, and a very small group of people, maybe like 4 or 5 people at most, 6, since we were both receivers, come in and do the yard check. My brother would start receiving, supervisor would do his thing, and just have 2 or 3 other people around the warehouse helping unload containers or doing put away or any extra replan. And fuck, that shit was dope, to be honest. Like, it wouldn't be such a heavy day. That way we would be able to get off at a good time and then basically get home, sleep for a little while, and then go gig for the rest of the night. Then we'd have Sunday and Monday off. And the cool thing about that seasonal warehouse, at the time they didn't really have the overtime, did they? Nah, yeah, they did. They did have the overtime, but not as much. In the second warehouse, yeah, they did have. We were working 6 days there. Same thing with the first warehouse. And at the third warehouse, when the transition had happened from the first to the third warehouse, yeah, there was overtime, but not as much as before. There was a lot more people. More people had came in. They had brought a couple of people from the other warehouses as well, and from the other shifts as well. So it was they had turned it. I think there was 3 shifts, and now they had turned it into 2. So they had more people to work around for each shift. Like I said, then with time, my brother had stopped working there, and then I was still working there, and then eventually I just transitioned over to that third-party logistics company. After transitioning with them for a while, they gave me the opportunity to go on the road, and my first stop was over at Chicago, at Melrose Parks, and been on the road ever since. I did take a brief time to go back to LA, and I went as my first lead position. I had a supervisor, manager that had just moved up to a manager, and he had just got his this was still with that third party logistics. He had just got a new warehouse to run in Vernon, California, and he told me to come back, and if I was interested in coming back. He didn't tell me to come back. He told me if I was interested. I told him, what the pay was, and I just felt like I would be taking a big pay cut at the moment, But then again, I was happy he kept me in mind. And after telling a homie this, he had told me, he's like, you should go take it, like, it's an opportunity to be a lead, and now you can get some experience. So I ended up listening to my homie, and I did go. I got the experience. I got the chance to operate the warehouse as a lead with another lead there, and we were taking care of a small group. It was like a group of 15 people, maybe even smaller, maybe 10 to 15 people, but it was dope. We would handle backhaul, just unloading any backhaul that was coming from backhaul. I mean trash that was coming from any of the warehouse. They would unload pallets, trash, uh, plastic crates, cardboard, the bales of cardboard, crates for bread, crates for vegetables and fruits and stuff like that. Um, Pallets, Petco pallets, white pallets, regular wooden pallets. They would load up what they call chinas, like all those bins of cardboard. They would load up containers and load them in a specific way so they can send them back to China and they can recycle all the cardboard, cut all the wax out, all the wax cardboard. Like sometimes they would have wax for certain produce boxes or meat boxes, and they would just have to cut out all the wax from the outer layers and then just put it in just regularly. So then I went back. I did that for a couple of months, for a good amount of months, maybe like 6, no, around 3 to 6 months, and then I got the opportunity to go back on the road. And I've been doing that, I could easily say, since at least 2021. We're about to be in 2026, so yeah, easily around 5 to 6 years now, as far as with this new 3PL, 5 years with the other company, and almost 6 years now with here. Either way, I got a lot of experience when it comes to the warehousing and the logistics part. Gotten the chance to work in all departments, from doing the yard check in the morning to seeing what's on the yard, containers, trailers, flatbeds wise, as far as going and double checking everything, writing down the container and trailer numbers, seeing everything that's on the yard, to directing the yard jockey or the yard goat, or the guy that runs and moves the trailers around. They were all just my homies. I would just call them by their name, but that's basically what they were. You're just yard jockeys, yard goats that moved anything that you needed around the yard, kind of directing it, making sure nothing was getting consolidated or congested. That way it would be easier to move things around, or if you needed to unload a certain trailer, you just tell them, hey, move this one, EMCU, blah 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 blah, over to Doctor 39. I don't know. And they go ahead and do it. The whole receiving process, the whole unloading process, the whole hauling process, put away process, replenishment process, order picking, selecting, staging, wrapping, loading, shipping, inventory, auditing, just cycle counting, checking the system, dropping orders. I didn't really do that much, but I did get kind of the gist of it. I'd like to learn a little bit more. But right now at the warehouse that I'm at right now, it really doesn't work like that. I mean, yeah, you drop orders, but not more in a grocery aspect of the warehouse, meaning like, because, I really enjoy grocery warehouses like Cisco's, U.S. Foods, AWG's, stuff like that. Like, those are all cool because, like, you have different departments, frozen produce, dry, and, you get, like, it's dope. Like you need to understand, like, you just have a more variety. Yes, it's a lot of work, but it just is what it is. Like, it's nice to be able to operate. And when you operate it in your way and your philosophy and your certain type of deal, you know how to run a team. I'm not saying I'm the best. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, as far as when I've gotten the opportunity to run warehouses, I've done a good job in my eyes. I've never had a problem when it came to management saying that they needed me out of their warehouse because I didn't know, or I didn't have it under control or whatever. No. And I'm not over here trying to give myself some flowers, but at the sense I am trying to just, like I said, I'm gonna tell you guys exactly how I was doing it. You know, not in this video or not in this, little audio that I'm doing, but in future ones. And I'll go over everything and my thoughts on everything. That's what ZZ Report is about. And so, I just want to be able to show that at one point, I was just leading these groups. I was leading everything, getting them their hotel room, getting people their hotel room, booking people's flights, making sure their per diem was hitting their debit card, making sure that everything was up to par when they would arrive to where I was leading and to the site that I was leading. They knew who to ask for, who was going to pick them up at what time. If they needed anything, please contact me. That's the way I had and was running my operations. Anybody that was coming into my site, I made sure they were accommodated and they were able to work comfortably, and they knew what they were getting themselves into. I was calling them before, or we were texting ahead of time, letting them know what I was doing, letting them know what they were going to get themselves into as far as the schedule, the departments that they were going to come in and do, the hours, if they were going to be sharing or having single rooms, how much it was paying, everything. We would talk about everything. Or if they just wanted to come out, fuck it, come out. But I would try to be in communication about everything. Because a lot of people sometimes they didn't care. They were just like, yeah, I don't care. I just want to go out. And this is what I want to show. This is gonna be everything. Like, there's just some people that didn't give a fuck, straight up. Like, they were just out to be on the road, to be on the damn road, have a good time. And I don't really care. Like, I don't blame them. This is what life is about. This is what this is about. And this is what it is. So, I've been to different states. Started off in Chicago. So started off in Illinois, went to Ohio, went back to Cali, went back to Ohio, went back to Illinois, went back to Ohio. Damn. A lot of work down in that area, to be honest. I've also been to New York. I'm currently in New Jersey, working at a warehouse in New Jersey, staying in a hotel in Pennsylvania. I've been to Georgia, Mississippi, Oregon, Indiana. Where else? Oklahoma, Tennessee. And where else? I've been to a couple more. But for the most part, this is what I want to show. At a lot of these warehouses, I was basically leading them. And if I wasn't, I was writing down my ideas on my second topic, which is shipping and receiving. Shipping and Receiving is a book / TV series that I've had in my mind for a long time. It was basically the concept of me and my brother starting off working at a warehouse in Los Angeles. And then slowly that I got into the traveling lifestyle, it just became of what I would do to start up a traveling third-party logistics company. If I had the money, what I would do to start up a company like this. It's going to be based on 7 people, the 2 main characters, Will and Steve. They're going to bring in 5 people, and they're going to teach them how to operate and manage a warehouse operations, a distribution center, anything that has to do with warehouse management. This is basically going to be a whole training video for the whole world. I'm going to show everybody what it's like working at a warehouse. Show you the basic concepts of what living a basic life is going to be like. So if you want to learn the most to high school algebra 1, this is going to be perfect for you. Because in warehousing, you need nothing more than to be able to count 12 by 14 or 12 by 16, depending on the size of the box, or using a calculator and just making sure that that number of cases is there. And what I mean by that is just, this show is going to be more about going into this underground world of logistics and these people developing, as far as the 5 people that they bring in. Will and Steve are already going to be older than them, but about them developing as characters and developing into themselves. And like I said, I'm going to be the type of person that goes into a lot of transitions into a lot of different talking subjects and yapping and whatnot, but that's kind of the way I see, unfortunately, sometimes in warehousing. Like, me, the highest level I made it up to was high school. I tried community college for a while, but I didn't do it. And, with the basic math that I know, it's enough to know a lot of warehousing. And what I mean by that is I've always should have aspired to do a little bit more, but I was always kind of living in aberration, just kind of wandering. And this is where my experiences are going to reflect on this book, this series, and everything that I've learned in my life. So the concept is, and the topic of the book is, or the series is, of shipping and receiving, is that Will and Steve are going to bring in these 5 people. And right now I just want to give a basic outline of everything that this is, so I don't want to get too detailed into the characters. Will and Steve, I don't mind saying their name, but we'll get more deeper into the other stuff later. Will and Steve are going to bring in these 5 people and have them live here and be here for the next 11 months. The main goal for paying them the amount of money that he's going to pay them is for collecting data on unloading containers and trailers. Since the first day that they get there, Steve is going to talk to them and kind of break down everything that's going to happen for the next 11 months. And then Will's, throughout the first weekend, is going to sit down and talk with them as well. And they're basically going to break it down how everything that they do here for the next 11 months is just going to be about gathering data and staying the fuck out of trouble. Coming here, staying busy. There's a reason they're going to be getting paid what they're going to be getting paid. Because, he's going to be paying them all in cash. This is basically going to be a whole experiment, with the goal of collecting all these data so they can present this data to companies out in the real world, out in the big world, and show how they have data on how fast their containers and trailers should be unloaded in. So if it has this certain type of merchandise at these dimensions, how fast should it be unloaded in? Does it come in pallets? Does it not come in pallets? What kind of boxes are in there? Cutting down the downtime. Being just performance productive. They're going to work by performance, paid by performance, and they're going to have their own system, and they're going to come in with the goal of running all their operations in the future. Because this is what 3PLs do, which is not a bad thing. I love it. But now I'm going to show how to do it. And somebody that's, you know, in a whole fictional world, obviously, because this is all just off the top of my head, but the way I would do it from all the experience that I've had and everything that I've gone through in this world, in the underground world of logistics, you know, been in the background, been in the front, talked to general managers, directors, you name it, I've done it. Assistant to this, assistant to that, general this, director that, first VP this, VP that, all of it. There's not one type of something of this that I haven't talked to. And you know what? I'm grateful enough to say that, you know, am I comfortable talking with them? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. You know, it just is what it is. But I have the experience talking with them. You know? Never ran into an issue once again and I'm proud of that. I've came up with ideas and sat down with people and they followed what I've had to say. You know? And so I want to just show all this. You know, like I said, I've worked with so many people, had my own philosophies on how to run a group. And to be honest, like, my company has let me run it, I don't want to say to a T, because yeah, for the most part, the only thing they really want to check up on is if I'm doing all the punches correctly, all of this and that, whatever, if I'm sending out the emails. But as far as me doing everything, picking out meetings, doing this, doing that, being in communications with the team that I'm running, it's all me. Nobody gave me a blueprint. Now they did, obviously. I did pick up when I became a lead on how to do it on my own. And it was a little different when I started running, I guess, teams on the road. But, you know, for the most part, a lot of the time I was on my own, running in my way, in my philosophy. I never really let the directors get in my way. If they had anything to talk about it with the, you know, general managers of the company that we were with. But I had everything under control. And this is what this is going to be about. You know, just my experiences. And, you know, so I'm sorry, I got a little backtracked. I kind of lost my train of thought because I had to send a text. But this is what I want all this to show about. I'm going to show exactly how I would do it to run the operations. You know, I've had to do everything, and I'm blessed that I got thrown into the fire and I came out with the experiences that I did. I did have people that, I won't lie, that did take care of me, that gave me great advice. So, you know, I won't say I did it all on my own as well. Even though, as far as, because the thing you gotta understand is, there was somebody, you know, a manager, a project manager, that he showed me the ropes, but then right away they really took him away, you know, like they sent him somewhere else to go run something else, and then I was just stuck on my own. Like, I remember the first time I did payroll, like, it was early, you know, early in the morning, I'm trying to do it, and he was in Cali, I was in Ohio, and it's 6-7 in the morning, I'm over here trying to do payroll, and it's like, dude, I can't call him, it's 3 in the morning in Cali, like, what the fuck? So I had to learn to do it on my own with all the notes that I was taking. If I did it, I had to erase everything and start from the beginning and do it till I got it right. And I'm happy, and that's what I mean by I had to do it a lot on my own, or I chose to do it a lot of my own, you know? But I'm happy I got, you know, I got that experience. And then when people had accidents, you had to do, you know, you had to do accident tickets and incident reports, have to do drug tests for them. Just a lot of different things. Operate drivers, get people to have rentals, just so much. And this is what I want to show in the type of experience that I have. It just is what it is. Just being able to operate different types of warehouses. I've been at warehouses that are just, like for animals. So you got a lot of cat food, dog food, cat litter, where cat beds, dog beds, grocery warehouse, automotive warehouse, car factories, just warehouses in like the middle of nowhere. For the most part, I like to focus on like grocery, like the dry, perishable, and freezer and stuff like that. But I've been to a lot of different kinds, and this is what it's gonna be about. The story's just gonna show how they go and start operating their philosophy and their tac ops into these warehouses. In my mind right now, I have around 7 to 8 seasons, or 7 and 8 seasons, and the extra one would be a strike site, because I've had the experience of working at a strike site where basically we just chilled in the hotel for a whole week. We were sitting down on Mother's Day in a warehouse in Cali. It was cool, but I was from Cali. I was 45 minutes away from home. If they would have let us go home that day, I could have gone to visit my mom. But I was grateful for the work. That warehouse literally didn't need us to go in for a whole week, so we just got paid for sitting down in a warehouse for a whole week. And then the day I finally decided to go over to my mom's house, the next morning I'm waking up to one of my homies calling me, telling me that we're moving hotels. So that's the life of being on the road and what I want to portray, and just how anything can really happen. In all reality right now, what I want to say about this show and about this book is that I really want to just in a different level, as far as when it comes to like, it's gonna sound stupid and everything, but like when it comes to like Harry Potter, 7, 8 books, running on TV all the time. You can always just assure that you go onto the television and there's a Harry Potter movie running. Like, I bet you can go right now on just basic cable and there's a Harry Potter movie running. I want to be able to show merchandise, show everything with this show, management, be able to show how you can, partner up with businesses, partner up with hotels, partner up with just different types of things when it comes to a company. This show is just going to show the underground world of logistics. Everything from moving people around to, maybe one day you're in St. Louis, then the next they need 10 people down in Texas, and, that's what this show is going to portray, everything. But it's going to start off in season 1 or the first book, basically showing, their training process. And then in book 2 is going to be about starting up a local warehouse there. So they're going to start learning the laws of hiring people in that state and making a permanent warehouse there that they run that operations, or they run their operations for a certain company. The third book is they're going to, go into another warehouse. And, I'm going to talk more about this later, but I just want to show all right now. They're going to go into another warehouse, and basically just now we're going to see the whole operations of running in a grocery warehouse. Well, that's going to be in the second book too, in the second one as well. But, I don't want to say too much in this opening, introduction for ZzReports. But I would say that this is basically just gonna show all my experiences and really just be a training, like I said, for to how I would operate a 3PL, a traveling 3PL. That's gonna be focused on going to warehouses across the United States and helping anybody, any warehouse, any company that may need help in any services, they're gonna provide. It's that simple. They need order selectors, they need a yard goat, they need one receiver. They will have somebody out there. We will find it. We will make it work. Believe me, you're gonna want to sit back and enjoy. You know, because it's just it. You know, I've been doing it for so long. I've gotten into so many things, like as far as so many experiences and so many different stories. To be honest, just being able to deal with. I don't want to say deal with. Being able to, have this experience with so many different people from so many different nations, from so many different countries. You know what I mean? I've gotten the chance to work with, I'm Mexican myself, born in the United States, but, with a lot of people from different Latin, like Venezuela, El Salvador, Mexico, Ecuador, Honduras. Then you got, people from Africa, people from, I don't want to say Europe. I met a couple, but not too many. Just different people from, just different countries. It's pretty dope. And just obviously just white people, black people, Mexican people, Latin people, just the basic people you have right here. And just a lot of different ones, obviously Asian, Korean, I don't know, just a little bit of everything, man. Some Russian people thrown in there as well. But I'm not gonna lie, predominantly in the warehousing, it is a lot of Mexican, Latin people. Maybe I should just say Latin people. White people, black people. I guess you can mostly say that. Obviously, there is a lot of different other ones, but those are the main three, man. Black, white, Latin. And it just is what it is. And this is what this show is going to show. It's going to show a lot of black, white, Latin people with a lot of different other, nationalities. And just what we've had to do. What I've gone through with these experiences with so many different people. And gotten the chance to work and succeed and thrive for the company that I work for. And just going to ball it all into one. And you're going to get to see exactly how it should be done when it comes to operating a 3PL. Sports, the psychology and philosophy behind them. Seeing the Dodgers win the World Series this year in 2025 is literally what just made my life, I know it sounds a little dramatic, but honestly just come full circle. Being from LA, I could just remember seeing the intro to Vince Scully, Steve Physiak, Rex Hudler, to Angels and Dodgers games. That was my shit. It was baseball, I would say maybe around 9, 10, 11. I would say maybe like 10, 11, because I really got into, the love of baseball and a team when the Angels won the World Series. But seeing the Dodgers win, it was just dope. I know they had won a couple of World Series. They had won the one last year, and the one a couple of years back. But there was just something about this one. 20 years later, I remember in 2005. That's when That was like the peak of when I was into baseball. 20 years later, and they're winning back to back. It's hard, especially with these contracts, because you see these contracts that they give, they're well worth it, in my opinion. Because back then you used to see a lot of teams, not really a lot of teams, more like the Yankees, that would invest a lot of money into a lot of players, and I'm not gonna lie, like, they didn't win too much championships. And now these fools put 2 in a row up, with a chance to put up 3 straight. And this really put me up, to be able to start, telling my story, telling my experiences, and just show the love of sports, to be honest. I grew up, basically, my dad, he taught me about Santos Laguna, which was a Mexican soccer team up in Torreon, Mexico. Well, down in Torreon, Mexico, I guess you could say. And, this was the love of a team. Like, I loved the team for who they are. I don't watch them too much anymore. I'm not gonna lie. I don't keep up with them too much anymore, but I think that's sometimes what it is in sports, It was nice back then, but none of the players that were there anymore are there. And I grew up as well. I grew up high school, got out of high school, started working, trying to community college, and eventually now look out on the road. But even I don't watch too much sports. Thankfully, right now the schedule that I have gives me the opportunity to maybe watch more sports. But the most opportunity I take, I'm not gonna lie, is to watch football on Sundays. Like, football's what my main sport. I'm just a fan of the NFL, a fan of Major League Baseball. I don't really root for a team anymore. After the Angels, I just kind of got out of rooting for the team, because, like I said, like, you just start getting older, and I feel like when you love a team, you just go into every single little detail. The reason being is because, like, you start learning about who their prospects are. You start learning about their farm systems. You start learning about the GMs. You start learning about people making decisions behind the office. You start learning about every single detail. And to be honest, like, right now in my life, I don't have that luxury. Like, if I had the luxury, I wouldn't even do that. I want to do more of this. Be able to talk about these 6 main topics and keep moving forward. And just watch football and baseball. If I had the time, I would watch it. Football and baseball. Sundays are cool, right now that I have the days off. But I'm not gonna lie, this is what it is. This could change at any time. From today to tomorrow, they can tell me, hey, you're going to Wisconsin. And I'm just like, damn. Without, I don't want to say that they control me like that, but it's a company you work for. It's a company I work for. If the work runs out here, what am I supposed to do? Just go back home? Yes, I can, obviously, but I need to keep working right now. So you just never know. But then at the end of the day, yeah, they can do that. Just like, hey, just like in sports, hey, you're getting traded. Get up, pack your stuff, let's go. Or like, hey, you're just not on this team no more. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes the companies just don't fuck with you. And they don't like your attitude. Thankfully, like I said, I've never had that problem. But I know a lot of homies or a lot of homegirls that do. They come in with a certain attitude. The company just doesn't like it. And they ask to have them to be removed. Like, hey, we just don't need this type of attitude around here. At the end of the day, they have that right. Because they choose who comes into their warehouse and who doesn't. And this is what I want to show in ZZ Reports. This is what it's all about. Sometimes, like in sports, it's all about the attitude. I want to talk about any little thing in sports. you know, what I'm into. I don't know how I want to do it, because like I said, I don't really root for any specific team, but I want to talk about anything when it comes to sports philosophy or psychology. I'm not an expert in it, but I've been watching so much sports, and all the sports that I've seen on SportsCenter, ESPN, Fox, like seeing interviews, seeing post conferences, I didn't see it. You don't see it as much back then, as much easy access growing up in the early 2000s, but now you do. And that's what I've always been more into. Like when somebody signs a mega contract, like you just go and see what they have to say after that. Or when somebody gets, into a dilemma, now they go right away post on certain social media accounts. Like we get a chance to see up front what the problem is, what's going on ahead of time, not like before in the early 2000s. So, and it makes it a lot easier with sports media. So I just really enjoy hearing different podcasts when it comes to like different football teams, and just hearing different topics when it comes to sports, mainly about football, some about baseball, some about basketball. Those would be the main three, though. I do like playing poker. I do watch other sports. I'll get into some soccer, I guess, but mainly I go based off everything off stats. And I'm not even an expert on that shit. It's because sometimes the stats just, they are not even enough, because you don't even know the weather sometimes in football. And this is what another thing is. Like, I want to talk about the gambling behind sports. I just want to, like, literally I'm living my dream right now, as far as, like, I remember I used to say back in the days, like, damn, imagine we would just be able to bet. Imagine I would just be able to bet that the Angels are going to beat the A's, or the Angels are going to beat the Mariners, or anything. Whenever you think a certain pitcher is going to be pitching and stuff like that. And sure enough, you can do it now legally in so many states. Things have changed. We're able to see people on platforms now, athletes that we grew up watching talking about what they were going through. So, I love seeing all those type of interactions. Like, I won't lie, like I like seeing podcasts and stuff like that. So, I just want to be able to talk about different topics when it comes to sports. But I'm not gonna lie, it was a lot about the 2025 Dodgers championship that did it. And I just want to get into every detail that I like about the sports, that that I could just talk about whatever comes to mind. The small things, contracts, free agencies, the fans, I love it. You love it. You love to hear about it as well. All the cool stuff, the coaching, the coaches, the philosophy behind it, everything. That's what it's going to be about. And just seeing what old school athletes talk about. Just quick reviews, like that's the thing. Like, there's just one YouTuber right now that just posts up 5-minute videos, 10-minute videos sometimes, just saying updates on the team that he likes. So to me, it's just like, what do I want to do? Like, how do I want to go upon this whole ZzReports? Like, do I just want to post up certain playlists for certain topics, and then whenever I hear something that's interesting, because I like to do a lot of fantasy as well. I suck at it. Never win shit. Never win shit. Picks always suck. But I enjoy it, even though, sometimes, most of the time, shit doesn't go the way I want. But I just want to, I'll give out my picks. I'll give out the reasons why, blah, blah, blah. But don't follow my picks. I'm not even going to do anything about that. I'm just going to say what I think, and that'll be it. But for the most part, I just love sports in the end, in the sense that, most of these things are a team sport, and you need a team to win. You're building a team to win. And it's all about winning, I guess you could say. Like, because I remember that's kind of how I grew up. Like, those guys aren't up there to lose, right? Like, there should be no chance in hell that they are up there to lose. Then you start growing older and you're like, damn, yeah, I don't like losing shit. I cannot see myself doing that shit. Even in a professional level or in any type of level, then you're really seeing guys going out there and either living their dreams or getting those shit shattered. And that shit's the crazy part. You know? Some guys that were talking and never became what they said they were going to become. And a lot of guys that didn't say nothing, and look at them now. They're the biggest thing in the world. You know? So, this is what I want to see, and this is what I want everybody to see when I think about sports. You know? It could just be so many ways. Sometimes it could just be who's the next guy up because somebody gets injured. You know? Sometimes it could be, you know, just about anything. Now we're seeing a lot of like gambling scandals. We're seeing a lot of just different stuff, like, and that's just fucking crazy. Cause I knew back in the day some shit like that had to be going on. Like, I mean, am I wrong for thinking it? Like, damn, imagine some fool just misses on purpose. Like, I'm sure people have thought about it, right? Like, oh, come on, man. Like, or there has to be more to sports, right? Like, these are actual people with actual temptations, actual players, you know? Just like us, they ain't always up to no good. I'm not saying I'm the perfect person and I'm not a bad person. I'm just saying, like, you know, they're just regular people like me and you that were born on this world just like me and you. And, you know, they're just not perfect, just like me and you. And this is what I want to see. Just sports and everything that comes with them. Everything that comes with it, you know? Because believe me, it's a lot of love and a lot of hate. And, you know, I just love seeing it on TV. There's nothing like seeing it on TV in my eyes. I used to go to Dodger games a lot, for sure. My brother used to take us. But there's just something about watching it on TV. And you'll get to see, like I said, I want to show everything, you know, on sports media. Like, you do see a lot of different stuff these days, you know, like a lot of anger, people that have their own platforms just getting into a lot of different beefs and talking shit about each other. And that's what I think that this has become. Like, there's just different platforms to be, that create problems sometimes, and people just talking shit. And but it is what it is, you know. I just enjoy watching all of it. You know, I think to a point it is just a certain entertainment. Not when it comes to the actual sports, to the sports media aspect of it, and it's cool to watch. You know, you can see right through it, I guess, right? Like, I don't know. I'll explain it later, I guess, the way I see it. But that would be the third thing. The fourth main topic would be about music. You know, going out of high school, didn't really have too much options, like I said. I was at a, 10th, 11th, 8th grade level on reading and math. So I had to go back and start from the bottom when I went into community college at PCC. And yeah, basically I was just fucking dumb. So I had to start from the bottom. And then I ended up working at a grocery store, and that's when I got into music. My brother, you know, he was working as a musician, playing some corridos, some música norteña in LA. And I told him, I was like, hey, what's up? If I learn to play the drums, can I be part of the band? He said, yeah. And thankfully he gave us a shot, me and my little brother. My brothers were already gigging, my two older brothers. And we started gigging all around East LA, South Central, Boyle Heights, Pasadena, Pico Rivera, you know, Riverside, Van Nuys, San Gabriel Valley, San Fernando Valley. I think it's both of them. Um, Northeast LA, just all around LA, all around LA County. Um, Gigged at different clubs like Zona Rosa, El Rodeo, Mexico de Noche, A Mi Hacienda. You know, just different places. It was dope. Um, what else? What else? Just I want to share my experiences about gigging. You know, I love all types of music. Música norteña, corridos, canciones, cumbias, balseadas, romances, everything. Classic rock, um, heavy metal, grunge, you know, all romances, some Luis Miguel, some Juanes, I don't know, just a little bit of everything. Um, the Fray, just Audio Slave, Three Doors Down, the Beatles, the Doors, the Beach Boys, Neil Young, you know, just Tupac, Biggie, you know, Big L, you know, Alice in Chains. Just so much. Just a lot of different. You would be interested in the music that I have in my playlist, to be honest. And Ramon Ayala, Vicente Fernández, Los Invasores, Los Tucanes, shit, Chalino, all of it, all of it, all of it, all of it. Thankfully, I learned to play the drums, to sing, thankfully. The guitar, a little bit of bass. Probably could follow along, but it's been a very long time since I played the bass. And just really showing what we went through, you know, it's still being in the music industry, you know. But thankfully, my brother being who he was, we got a lot of love. We got a lot of experience. A lot of the experiences that came out of music really helped me out today, and I'm very excited to show about him. You know, this is what really showed me in life that you never know. You know, basically, Gerardo Ortiz's brother, Kevin Ortiz, knew a homie, and that homie knew my brother. He got us a tryout to go try out to be Kevin Ortiz's drummer. I knew I wasn't gonna do it because I had like 2 or 3 years only experience in drumming. So, but that just kind of goes to show, like, when you have an opportunity, or you don't know when your opportunities are gonna come to you, so you better be fucking ready. Like, yeah, maybe I wasn't gonna get it, but what if I would have had that 15 years of experience? Like, that's when my opportunity comes into play. But then again, I was drinking a lot, smoking a lot, fucking around a lot, so maybe that wouldn't have been the best choice. You know, being out on the road, you know, in drugs, alcohol, out on the road, being musicians and stuff like that at that caliber. In a band with, you know, Kevin Ortiz, because, you know, he did have his fans too, so pretty sure he had a good amount of gigs. But being able to gig around LA just kind of showed me the type of love that people in LA have all around, to be honest. We never had a bad gig. As far as, like, people never were rude to us or told us that we sucked to get the fuck out of here or anything like that. Always got love from people in LA. Got nothing but love for people in LA. Just played in so many different occasions, 15s, quinceañeras, weddings, baptisms, amanecidas, birthday parties, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Easter, Christmas, everything. Maybe not Christmas. Thanksgiving, maybe. I think the day after Thanksgiving for sure. The day before Thanksgiving for sure. New Year's, but Christmas was a little too much. I don't remember doing Christmas. And just for La Virgen, you know, for different rosary times and different times around like that. But just to show everything that comes with music, the respect of music, and just for the love of the music, to be honest. Um, we were doing that for like 5 or 6 years, made some decent money off it. Thankfully, living off that money for a cool minute, got the opportunity to save up. You know, but obviously it's tough sometimes gigging a lot of days, being booked months ahead, so you can't really plan anything. But it taught me a lot. My brothers, teaching me what they did. Like I said, we were drinking a lot at the time, but we went out, we did our job, and now I do kind of feel bad for gigging like that, but it comes with it. We were young. We were probably like 21, 22, 23, young guys. That's no excuse though. But like I said, man, no hard feelings. Nobody ever told us anything. We just went out, did our thing. We did a decent job. There's still a lot of videos out there. Maybe share them with you guys later. But as of right now, we're just gonna, you just kind of have to take my word for everything. I know it sounds like a lot of shit that I'd be saying, but it just is what it is. So, I'm very happy with all the experience I got with music, man. That music is something for the soul. I love it. I know everybody loves music, so once I got a chance to go out there and learn it and stuff like that, it was a lot of discipline, a lot of hard work, a lot of investing, when it came to instruments and stuff like that. But it was totally worth it. It was a dope experience. Sometimes I still do it when I go home, get the chance to sing with my dad, with my brothers, just with my family, and it's something that I enjoy very much. Which leads me into topic number 5, weight loss. In around 2021 or 2022, I weighed myself and I was at 290. At that time, I wouldn't even say I was at my biggest. So I know I easily went up at least to 310 plus pounds. Easy. And this was just kind of a time in my life when I was just like, well, is 2 like the new 300 anyways? Is 200 the new 300 since I'm older anyways? I'm 28, 29, 30, whatever, however old I was. I should have been like maybe like, 29, 30 at the time. And it's just like, should I be weighing this much? Like, yes, no. I would look at myself in the mirror and be like, yeah, I'm a fat guy, but I've always kind of been like that. But then I just remember seeing some deeper pictures into it, and it's just kind of like, whoa. Like, whoa. Who's that? Like, that's you. That was kind of the part that got real. And right now, December 6th, 2025, I'm happy to say the last time I weighed myself at the warehouse scale too, with steel toes on, I was at 185. So without those steel toes on, it's probably like 180. But still, I would say I lost at least over 130 pounds. And you know what? I'm proud of myself. And if you want to know how I did it, it was just basically stop fucking overeating. Stop fucking eating unhealthy. Stop it. I changed up my diet. I started drinking chia water in the morning. A banana and 2 rice cakes or 1 rice cake in the morning. And for my first break, 3 boiled eggs for my lunch. On the way back home, I ate an apple, tuna salad for dinner, and just do it all over again with a 1-hour workout. and the chia water before I went to sleep. Now my current diet right now is I wake up, oatmeal with a scoop of protein powder, 2 rice cakes, 2 scoops of protein powder with some water in my first break, lentil soup with potatoes and chicken breast with a kombucha water, a dose of chia water in the morning, also with the oatmeal, tuna salad in the afternoon, chia water at the end of the night, and then just, I don't want to say anything on the weekend, but for the most part, yeah, like, I'll get more like protein, steak, some short ribs, chicken soup, and I will go out and walk. Like today I want to go out and walked around 6-7 miles, around an hour and a half, 2 times. So I also am staying under a calorie deficit. I also am going out and exercising. So it's not really just about changing the way I'm doing it. You can do it a lot of different fucking ways, but that was the way I did it, in case you wanted to know. Or you can do the Special K diet, when you could just stop eating everything for 2 months and eat Special K, which is another diet that I did back in high school. Strawberry, pick out the strawberries, just eat the cereal, 2 months, nothing but water in that. You'll lose a lot of weight right there too. But I don't recommend any of that. Like I said, I don't recommend anything. I'm just letting you know what I did. Once again, I'll go over it in another video. But for the most part, I just got that shit out of my head about people saying, like, over 30, you can't do this, you can't do that. Like, it's a bunch of bullshit. It's a bunch of nonsense. Don't listen to them. It's crap. It's baloney. It's dumb. You do what you gotta do to change your body. I grew up thinking there was nothing more beautiful than a female body. And you know what? It just is what it is, man. Me being a male, it's just beautiful seeing a female body and my body, and another body, I guess you could say. But what I mean by that is just your body. You being healthy. Like, we're humans, man. Like, we should be able to take care of ourselves. Me going up to that weight, I should have never, but it just kind of even gave me more motivation in my life to show that I can do anything I want to. And if I put my mind to it, I can. Because now my main goal is to lose all my belly fat. Because, I got skinny, obviously. Or I got skinnier, but I still look like a thick guy, like a big guy. So I want to just turn that all into muscle at the moment. And just prove to myself that I can do it. Because I can. But like I said, I'll just keep showing exactly what I'll do and what weight loss is to me, and I'm gonna go a little deeper into what I noticed, because to me it's just about what you like to do with your body and the way you want to handle it. If I'm being honest, like, you know what you want for your body. You know what you want to do. You know how you want to look. I know how I want to look, so I do the exercises that I do to look that way. I eat because that's the way I should eat. Because you are what you eat. I truly believe that, 1,000%. If you're eating nothing but unhealthy shit, you're just going to be an unhealthy person, just like I was. And I believe I still am, because I was doing it for so long, that I feel like just these last 7-8 months that I've really dedicated myself to it is not enough. So, like I said, that's topic number 5. And the last topic is what we're doing right now, just audio recordings. I just want to record as much audio as I can, talk to as much people as I can, you know, just upload as much audios as I can, and talk about these 6 different subjects, you know, about everything they are to me, all the small details about them, everything that comes to mind, just put it into an audio recording. Just be able to have my thoughts somewhere in the world and be able to, you know, even look back on them later and maybe even do something with them, you know. I know I can do something with the way I'm thinking and the way I have it all structured out right now. Like I said, I'm doing this video just basically, or this audio basically just to get it started, because then I start thinking in my own mind a lot and I just don't do it. Like I said, I've been traveling out on the road for the past almost 5-6 years. At the moment, I'm living out of a hotel in PA, Pennsylvania, working at a warehouse in New Jersey, and I'm just grateful for the work. You know, these past 5 years easily, I was working at warehouses that I was working 6 days a week, 10-hour days, sometimes even more, random days off, Tuesdays or Wednesdays, not being able to enjoy anything, just working. And now I've got into a warehouse and a company that I've stayed in their network for at least a year now, but have been in their network for 3 years. I was working at another one of their warehouses in Portland, Oregon, around 2 to 3 years ago, and it was cool. You know, I came back. I got the opportunity to come back and have been working here ever since. And they have the weekends off, and I get to enjoy my time. I get to enjoy some time, even though I would like to keep working because the money gets lower, obviously, when you don't work. But at the same time, it gives me the opportunity to do this, to write, to do these audio recordings. I'm going to try to do writing, but I would say right now it's going to focus more on audio recording. I have had other profiles, or I guess you could say I guess profiles on YouTube, on Reddit, on things like that, with other names. But you know, now I wanted to put everything into one, because the other profiles and my other I don't know how you call them, my other damn, what's the word I'm trying to look for, persona, I guess, would only talk about warehousing and would talk about shipping and receiving. So now I want to talk about all this stuff. I might share with the other videos later. That way you can see and match my voice. That way you know it's me. But yes, there have been similar profiles or similar YouTube channels that is me. That, you know, I'm basically doing the same thing I'm doing now. But I don't know. I guess I could just show right there how dedicated I am, I guess, to this. Because I am. I want to be able to show all this that I'm talking about. I want to, and like I said, I just want to be able to do something and give my experience about these 6 main subjects. And I'm very excited to do it. You know, I've gotten the opportunity to travel through all these states, stay at different hotels, work at different warehouses, see different experiences, operate different warehouses, different types of functions, just all of it. Seeing all kinds of sports growing up, being able to do this weight loss transition, being able to tell this story, even though, you know, some of it is real, some of it is fake. But I mean, isn't that what this storytelling is all about? Like, you know, like, right? So just being able to do all this into one, I think it would be better. You know, like I said, with the set goal of just, I don't know, getting my ideas out there, being able to move forward and not limit myself in life, I guess you could say. And like I said, just share my experiences. Out of everything, you know, I think warehousing, shipping and receiving, sports, psychology, the weight loss are going to be the main four. Obviously, these main audios are going to be the main one. But I'm going to say music might be the one least talked about. But I want to talk about everything because music did teach me a lot of how to transition into a different field, from the music into the warehousing field, because a lot of it had to do with characteristics. A lot of it has to do with the type of person you are. A lot of it has to do with how you carry yourself, and I honestly do believe that there's a reason that people have called back for me, or companies have called back for me and see if I'm available. I want to go out and do a good job. I want to prove that I deserve to be there, and this is what it's all about. Now I want to be able to share all these things with everybody out on YouTube, with everybody out on radio, on all these type of platforms, and just see what comes out of it. Like I said, just talk about what's going on in my mind, talk about my experiences. You're gonna get to know that I repeat the same things a lot. You're gonna get to know that I talk and get off topic a lot. You're gonna get to know me. You're gonna get to know all these topics, all these subjects, and just really see the detailed on everything. I don't know. I guess if there's anything more random, I guess you could say, like, I want this to be a type of thing where you could just put your headphones on and listen to me. I can't really right now be doing all this editing and this and that. I'd rather just you push fucking play on YouTube and listen to me talk about random shit. Because that's really all I do at work all the time. I know it's unsafe and I know I shouldn't be doing it, but there's a lot of warehouses that permit it. This warehouse doesn't, but either way, I have my long hair right now, so I just put my hair over my headphone and then just listen to sports media all day, listen to sports post games all day, different sports all day, different writing topics about losing weight, just music, just a lot of different stuff. So, I got the time right now, and like I said, really working in this field, anything can change. Like, it is true. From today to tomorrow, they can call me and say, hey, you know what? Like, they just don't need you guys over there anymore. And this is what shipping and receiving and just the warehousing in general is going to be about. Like, they can't just call and be like, look, this company doesn't need you there no more. We ain't got nothing for you. Or we can send you to Dallas, Texas right now. You choose. This is what this world is about. Anything goes. We're there to be professionals, We're not there to be happy for us. At least that's the way I see it. Like I said, a lot of homeboys, a lot of homegirls don't give a fuck. They're just there to fucking chill. Some of them don't like being told what to do. It just is what it is, man. But for me, it's just like this time is limited when it comes to these companies because it's not a forever thing. You're not gonna be there working at the Unified for Cisco or working at the, AWG forever. All of it is a temp, even though we are a company, it's a temp gig. You're not going to be there forever. So you have to keep that in mind, and I always keep that in mind. I'm going to end up leaving the people that are hired there to the company. Some of them are going to end up living there the rest of their life or living out the rest of their life there. I'm going to end up going back to Los Angeles and having to figure it out on my own. Or I could keep doing this YouTube stuff, this Reddit stuff, this Substack stuff, everything that I'm trying to post up in all these platforms and try to do something else, try to show my experiences in life. And that's just being a little blunt, that's just being a little honest, I think everybody should want more for their life. My respects to the warehousing, I love it. It's just something I've chose to do for the last 11 years because I do love it. My favorite function is receiving. Receiving is the best. I love it out of everything, even though the heart of the warehouse is always going to be pickers and order selectors. It just is what it is. But, like I said, I want to talk about just different random shit. In the morning right now, my main routine is basically wake up around 4 in the morning, work out, stretch my body, chill out, get ready for work. I'm not the lead here, which is something I am enjoying, so I don't have too much responsibility. I get the time to do all this and do it all on my own time. But basically, wake up, stretch out, chill out, head down at 5:45. Then we leave out around at 5:50 to, he drives over to work. We get there, start work at 6:30. We're off at 4:30, get back, and I have the rest of the day to myself. Go to sleep like around 10 or 11 at latest, but around 10. And, this is a great opportunity for me to just be able to have a routine in my life. Because thankfully what my boss told me is that after this month, they're just basically wanting to go with me and one more person, which is the lead. And so it's cool, we can basically make some more time right here. And I'm going to try to continue posting up as much audios as I can. I'm pretty motivated. And what I mean by pretty motivated is sometimes I just get caught up in writing too much notes. Like, that's literally all I'm doing all day, just trying to figure out different things to talk about and different things for the show and different things for that. And I just get caught up in all that. But I'm going to try to be sitting down every day, at least doing one video a day, maybe even doing multiple videos a day. I don't know how long they're going to be. That's the thing. I don't know how I want to structure it as far as how long I want to talk about the topics that I want to talk about. But I'm going to make it work. Like I said, right now it's been a couple of months since I've been home. And it hasn't been a couple of months, I'm lying. It's been maybe like a month and maybe like 6 weeks or 7. But I'm going to stick it out right here. Hopefully be back by Christmas. Spend out a week over there, maybe 10 days at most. Be back here for the New Year's and start getting a rock and roll. For the new year, starting off with the goal of doing as much as I can with ZzReports. That's going to be my main thing going forward. I want to do something with my life on ZzReports and making this as much as I can, getting this warehouse experience out there, this book, this TV series out there. I just want these ideas out in the world. So I'm happy if anybody's listening, and just know that I'm going to talk about everything. And it's going to be cool. It's going to be dope. I hope to have people listening, and, feel free to reach out. Feel free to reach out and let me know your stories, please. That's something I would really enjoy. I ain't gonna lie, just like listening to different people's experiences, because you're gonna see real quick about the experiences I have, and there's a reason it's called the underground world of logistics. It's a great world, and even the world of music that I was living, is dope, and the love and the hate in sports, and just these audio recordings. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Like I said, you probably already seen how I keep repeating myself and just keep saying the same thing over and over and over and over. But, like I said, I'm excited. I'm excited for all of this. Like I said, this is going to be the main attraction. I guess you could say that all you really got to do is pop in your headphones and listen to me talk. I have no edits. I have no this, no that, no cuts. Just the most I'll do is probably pause the video, get a breather, and then keep going. But a lot of this shit is just going to be off the top of my head. I just want to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and just get these ideas out there. So, thanks for taking the time to listen, and we'll see what my first official topic and video's about. I'm excited to do all this, and like I said, there's a reason they call it the underground world of logistics.